let's be honest. The Big Ten championship game probably won't be much of a game at all. The undefeated Michigan Wolverines are searching for their third straight Big Ten championship en route to their third straight college football playoff appearance, and they're taking on a surprisingly 10-2 Iowa team that is 10-2 with one of the worst offenses in the entire country. And if history is any indication, you could probably turn this game off at halftime. But we're going to predict it anyways. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. So glad you could join us today to break down the Big Ten championship between Michigan and Iowa. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks, especially our holiday special, where for just $34.99, you will get every single conference championship spread pick, every college football bowl game spread pick, and every NFL playoff game spread pick. That is the rest of the college football games of the year, every college football game for the remainder of the year, pick against the spread, every playoff pick in the NFL against the spread for just $34.99. No other site is going to offer those picks to you for that low of a price, and no other site can guarantee that they'll have a winning record in those picks, because we can. We can guarantee that. We have beat out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 5 years. We're hitting over 60% of our bets this year. We've hit over 60% of our postseason bets each of the last 5 years. So again, if you want to win big this holiday season, go sign up. The link down in the description below. Go join our GE Nation. So take a look at this game, guys. These two teams have actually met the last few years. Michigan winning by 13 at Iowa last year in the regular season, and they actually met in the Big Ten championship game back in 2021. Similar situation. Michigan a dominant team. Iowa not much of an offense, but a strong defense. And in that championship game, Michigan won 42-3. Could be seeing a similar result this time around. Because you look at Michigan's offense, guys. Say what you want about J.J. McCarthy and everything else, the sign stealing and things like that, whatever. Michigan's an elite team, and they have an elite offense. They just dropped 30 points on one of the best defenses in the country in Ohio State. They're averaging over 225 passing yards per game, over 170 rushing yards per game. This offense has been held to under 30 points just one time this year, and that was a 24-15 win at Penn State. Not an easy place to play. A very good team. And keep in mind, that was the game where less than 24 hours before the game, the Big Ten announced they were suspending Jim Harbaugh for 3 games. A lot of distractions, everything like that. And Michigan still dropped 24 points on the road at Penn State. J.J. McCarthy has thrown for over 2,400 yards, 19 touchdowns, takes great care of the football, went 16 for 20, 148 yards, and a touchdown against the Buckeyes. Blake Corum, back fully healthy after getting hurt at the end of last year, has rushed for nearly 1,000 yards. He'll hit 1,000 yards in this Big Ten championship game, and 22 rushing touchdowns, a big one last week against Ohio State in the third quarter. Donovan Edwards, 354 yards as well, one of the best running back duos in the country, even though Edwards not being used as much as he was at this time last year. 3 players on Michigan's squad have over 500 reception yards, led by Roman Wilson, who has 648 yards and 11 touchdowns. And this is a Michigan team that can do it all, right? They're very efficient. They're very balanced. They can score fast. They can take their time. They can hit a home run ball. They can draw out a 7-minute drive. Whatever you need from Michigan, they can do, and they can bully you up front in the trenches. And we've seen that all year long, and we even saw that last week against Ohio State, especially on that last drive of the game where they wasted 7 minutes of clock before settling for a field goal to put them up 6 points. Iowa, on the other hand, this is the offense, guys. Again, credit to them, right? Credit to the Hawkeyes. I don't know if there's any other team in the country that can have an offense this bad, but yet still win their division and win 10 games. Winning 10 games, regardless of who you're playing and how you're doing it, is no small feat. It's very, very impressive. So a lot of credit to Kirk Ferentz and the Hawkeyes for that. But they've won 10 games. Probably should be 11-1. That Minnesota game, they got robbed, but I digress. 18 points per game. That's all they're averaging. That's all they're averaging. So Brian Ferentz, the offensive coordinator, he's gone because Iowa had to average 25 points per game for him to keep his job. That obviously did not happen. 18 points per game. The Hawkeyes have eclipsed 20 points just 4 times this season. Utah State, Western Michigan, Michigan State, and Rutgers. Not necessarily the best competition in the world where they're hitting those marks. They've eclipsed over 28 points in a game just once, and that was the win over Western Michigan early in the year. They're averaging just 123 passing yards per game. That's 130th in the entire country. They're averaging just 124 rushing yards per game for a grand total of 247.3 total yards per game, which ranks 133rd in the nation. It is one of the worst and least efficient offenses in the entire country, but yet they are still 10-2. Deacon Hill is leading the charge at quarterback, 976 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. And it is unfortunate we did get robbed of that reunion, right? Cade McNamara transferred from Michigan to Iowa. It would have been awesome to see J.J. McCarthy face off against Cade McNamara, to see McNamara against his former school, maybe ruin his former school's playoff hopes, but McNamara injured much earlier this year and was done for the year. So that's a very unfortunate storyline that we were robbed of, and an opportunity that we were robbed of as well. But Deacon Hill going to be under center. LaShawn Williams has been a bright spot on the offense, 779 yards rushing, but that's really about it. And this Iowa offense that has struggled to move the ball, that has struggled to put points on the board, is now facing the number 2 defense in the entire country. The Wolverines are allowing just 246.8 total yards per game. They're allowing 155 passing yards per game. That's it. Just 91 rushing yards per game. That's it. The Wolverines have not allowed. They have held every opponent to under 24 points. No one has exceeded 24 points against Michigan. Maryland hit 24. Ohio State hit 24. That is it. And the Iowa offense, we know they ain't going to hit 24. They're not going to score 24 points. It's not going to happen. The Wolverines have 28 sacks. They forced 16 interceptions. The Iowa offensive line, they've allowed 24 sacks. So Deacon Hill could be under a lot of pressure. We could see a lot of second and third and longs for the Hawkeyes. We could see the running game get stuffed for Iowa. Again, if you're Michigan, you're not worried about Iowa's offense at all. But bottom line is just stop the run, force the Hawkeyes to win the game through the air. If you do that, Deacon Hill's going to make mistakes, and you're going to get the ball a lot. The offense for Michigan is going to have a lot of opportunities, because I envision a lot of 3 and outs and a lot of turnovers from this Iowa offense. The Iowa defense, give them some credit, right? Give them credit. Maybe you take the under in this game. I don't know. But this is a defense that deserves everything, right? The reason they're 10-2 is not because of the offense. It's because of coaching, and it's because of one of the best defenses in the entire country. Michigan has that as well. The Hawkeyes are 7th overall. So you have the number 2 defense in the country in Michigan, the number 7 defense in the country in Iowa. They're giving up just 279 total yards per game. They're 9th in the country against the pass, giving up just 174 passing yards per game. They're 17th against the run, allowing just 105 rushing yards per game. But all that's great when you're playing the weak Big Ten West. When you're beating up on teams that also don't have an offense, like Wisconsin, like Minnesota, who Iowa did lose to in controversial fashion, but Wisconsin and Minnesota and Illinois and Northwestern and a bad Purdue team. Your cross-division game was a bad Michigan State team. When you're beating up on weak teams, of course your stats are going to look good. Take the one really good team Iowa faced this year that's somewhat similar to Michigan. Who was that? That was Penn State. Yes, it was the whiteout game. Yes, it was on the road. But in that game against Penn State, the Hawkeyes lost 31-0 and mustered just 4 first downs. That was it. The Hawkeyes got 4 first downs. They had just 76 yards of offense. They allowed 397 yards of offense, including 215 rushing yards. So you can sit here and say all you want, oh, Iowa's so great against the run. Well, not against good teams that have the strength up front on that offensive line and that have running back talent like Penn State did, like Michigan does. So again, it's one thing to bully all these weaker opponents on your schedule, playing in one of the weaker divisions in all of college football, but when you're time to play the big boys like they did against Penn State, Iowa got manhandled. They got bullied. And that's exactly what's going to happen in Indianapolis on Saturday night. Michigan obviously is better than Penn State. They beat Penn State by 9 points on the road. If Penn State can do that to Iowa, I can only imagine what Michigan is going to do to Iowa. It's a Big Ten championship game. Michigan wants to win this game, put a statement victory, maybe still holding out hope to get that number 1 seed in the playoffs, but more than likely going to be number 2 behind Georgia unless the Bulldogs lose to Alabama. Time will tell. But regardless, the Wolverines aren't going to hold anything back. They won 42-3 in the championship game back in 2021. Jim Harbaugh is going to be back on the sideline for this game. He's going to be angry and ready to prove a point to win another Big Ten title, their 3rd straight for Michigan, to show the committee that they deserve to be ranked much higher than maybe they believe, to be number 1. Michigan, again, they're not holding anything back. Iowa's not going to have an answer for them. The game, to me, will be over by halftime, but the Wolverines won't stop there. They'll continue to pour it on the second half. Michigan finishes the year 13-0. They win their 3rd straight Big Ten title. They go back to the college football playoff. The only question now is, can they finally win in the college football playoff and get to the national championship game after falling short each of the last 2 years? Of course, we'll have that answer and that prediction here in the coming weeks. But guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks and our holiday special. Do not miss out on that if you want the spread pick for this Big Ten championship game, every other conference championship game, every college football bowl game, every NFL playoff game. Go sign up, join our team today, and start winning big with us today. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.